Hazy, I have a question for you out of the gate. I know you say that you're a die-hard Green Bay Packers fan and that growing up, you and Billy Bob, your dad, were die-hard Leafs fans.
Yeah.
It's now into the conference finals. I personally have a lot of balls in the air. I got my old team, the Canes. I've got a Canadian team. Love Canada, love the Habs right now. I want to see them do well. I also want to see Mitch Marner do well. What kind of lean do you have? Or are you like, I'm Leaf guy and everyone else can screw themselves because I don't care? Because I think there's a good feeling about the Habs around Canada. I think a lot of people are jumping on board. But I know there's people like you that say, I hope the Habs lose.
No, I don't have that viewpoint. I'm not openly rooting for or against anybody.
You just
honestly,
don't. You like
point.
enjoying the games and whatever happens.
Well, I'll be honest. Professionally, I look at through the lens of this show. Basically, everything in sports, I look through the lens of what is going to make our show better. That's the truth.
Okay, so what scenario, if you give me a top 3 scenario list for this show, is it Habs doing well?
Habs Vegas Cup Final is number 1 on the list. And it's not even close. It's not even close. You put Mitch Marner in the Cup Final back in a Canadian city playing at the Bell Center, chasing a Conn Smythe. Let's be clear here. If Vegas finds a way to beat Colorado, I got to believe Mitch Marner is going to have a great series.
We would have to do Boston Pizza Overdrive from Montreal.
I think we probably have to.
I mean, it's a layup.
Right.
That's a layup.
I think you're right. That just seems like a formality.
For the first 2 home games of the series.
I'd say, I guess we'd have to. I'd say I don't want to, but I'd say maybe we have to.
I just want to add in here quickly. Wasn't it a week ago it was his Buffalo Sabres?
Oh, yeah.
Like that was lost. That's
fan.
all gone, right?
Yeah. Oh, Lake Erie Zone or whatever it is.
Wherever it goes. So
I never once said my Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, you love the Buffalo.
I told a story when I was a kid. My grandpappy couldn't afford tickets, and he drove us to Montreal to see Habs games. So, therefore, we took a liking to the team.
Just a quick 5-hour drive to save money on gas because you couldn't get to the Gardens. Well, listen, I'm honestly, I'm not really rooting for or against anybody, but I had someone bring this to my attention recently that they looked at the Habs as like a team that is generally liked by everybody. And I had never really thought of that because growing up in Toronto, obviously the Leafs and the Habs, there was always such a big rivalry. There always has been and there always will be. But I get, like, the Leafs it's black or white.
I was just going to ask you, well, why is it if the Leafs were in the conference final, which seems like craziness to even say that, why would there just be hatred and hit pieces and garbage? I don't know what, if there's a hatred there, where it's like everyone would say that team makes me sick.
Yeah.
Like there was an article way back in the day, like about they were the most hate with Tux and Corse and all those guys. It was like the most hated team in pro sports. I'm like, why are we saying the Montreal Canadiens are so likable, which I totally agree with, and yet the other organization is just hated?
It's not difficult to figure out. Toronto, Noodles, you're from the West. Like, do people hate Montrealers in Edmonton? I don't know. Maybe they do.
You know what it is? It's just, I mean, I guess growing up, my friends were either Boston fans or
Tell us why
Habs
you hate
fans.
us, Jamie.
I don't hate anybody, but I will say that group that you pointed out, they were unlikable. Tux and all them, they were cocky. That's why. That's what they were.
Well,
I was in the league at the time.
I was in the league at the time.
Here we
Tux
go.
would say, how many Memorial Cups have you won? I'm like, the
What does
NHL.
that have to do with
Grow
anything?
up. Like,
what is that? Yeah, but listen, you played in the league. I can't speak.
Playing
I
in the
didn't
league
remember
against
that
them, they were unlikable. That's what they were, unlikable
well, because they were
group.
tough too. They fought. They beat up people. Like they were a tough team.
From the outside, I'm joking there, but from the outside, it's. I don't know. If one organization's more unlikable or not. I think people are just so passionate about their team, regardless of where they're from. And then there's a team that they'll either call a cheat team or whatever, and there's a team that they will always dislike no matter what. And if that's Toronto, if that's Montreal, if it's Boston, you name it. It's an original six team because they've been around forever. So I know guys I have friends who have a Leaf tattooed on their chest. They're Leaf fans for life, no matter what. And they will hate the Habs no matter if they're the most likable team right now.
But that's because they're a Leaf fan, not because they're an Oiler fan. Or I don't think this is even debatable. The Leafs are the sole team in the country that everyone has an opinion on. Like, the reality is, I don't know if people in Winnipeg and Ottawa are thinking of each other a ton. You know, I don't know if Jets fans have a feeling for the Senators and vice versa.
That is that is actually, you can't even argue that.
No,
point.
I don't. Fair. It's not that they don't respect them or whatever, or hey, you're Canadian, great. I don't think people in Winnipeg and people in Ottawa are like, man, I can't live with them having success. Right, or wow, I'm so happy they've had failure. Where the Leafs, you know, it's a Toronto thing. It's the city. It's the media here. It's, you know, there's a lot of different
attention
things.
That they get. All of that
100%.
Type of stuff.
They're on hockey night. They go to Vancouver and they play at 4 p.m. local. You know, there's a lot that goes into it, and I understand it, and I get it. But the Habs, I don't know. I hadn't looked at it that way, but I get the impression it's easier for non-Montreal Canadian fans to jump on their bandwagon. Where I think you're right, no one was going to jump on the Leafs bandwagon. They would watch, you know, happily watch because it's compelling. A lot of people hate watch, just like you hate watch the Cowboys or hate watch the Yankees.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot that goes into that. It's just you pick a side. There's no real middle ground where I think Montreal this year they play a fun brand of hockey. They got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
They're the clear underdog right now. You know, Colorado, Vegas, and Carolina are more established teams in terms of their record and in terms of their recent history, you know.
Right.
But I'd also say Montreal has had the most difficult path of the four, and I think by a substantial margin. I get Minnesota was great in the second round. That's a really tough matchup. Colorado had L.A. in the first round. Worst team in the playoffs by a mile. Vegas had Anaheim and Utah. Carolina, I thought Ottawa would be better. They weren't. They ran out of gas. And Philly was lucky. They were happy to make the playoffs. Ecstatic they beat Pitt. Montreal's gone through Tampa and Boston and Buffalo. Like they are way more battle-tested than any of the other three teams in the playoffs right now. And I think they've earned the ability to say, hey, we fought tooth and nail to get here, where the other teams wasn't as challenging.